Do you picture the world around you as a frozen frame of motion where you can change everything?
You know what? That sounds incredibly cool. It's one of those things where it's like, what superpower would you like to have? I feel like that's one of those ones that I would want.
That would be pretty cool. I could see myself enjoying that. So this game is Tiny Town. Hey guys, I'm Crypto Spook.
And this is Moriarty, and I'm very interested in what this game is. Just off of the first few seconds, I'm already intrigued. Though it does have kind of a Robloxy feel.
It does seem a little bit Robloxy, doesn't it? This game is a VR game where you can change and build a scene about just about anything you want. And I thought that was interesting. I actually came up with some ideas for it. I'm like, we could build scenes for this and make cool stuff with it. You can change each character's individual body language, like you can move their hands and legs around, and you can move their expressions and stuff, and you can move every piece of the world itself, except the buildings, apparently. The buildings appear to be, just one thing that you can't do anything about. But there's all sorts of props and stuff you can add in, and you can make a little scene, and you can add text bubbles and stuff, and it's really just a little world creator. You can make a little scene. Unfortunately, there's no way to be like a play button that makes them act it out. That's the only thing I felt like it was missing.
Okay, so they don't actually do anything. It's more of a Legos.
It is, yes. Actually, wow, perfect. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, this is specifically Legos.
I notice that you have a fascination with placing things on people's heads.
No, I'm not. I don't think so. I'm just trying to change the dynamic of what's going on in the world and making the opposite of what it was previously.
By placing things on their head.
Well, now, no, for instance, instead of the robber running away with the money, the police officer is pelting the robber in the back of the head with money.
You know what this kind of reminds me of? It's one of those things where it's like, look, if you never experienced it or you didn't have a friend to experience it, you're not going to have any idea what I'm talking about. That is, I had a good friend of mine in high school was sent to the school psychiatrist.
Okay.
Right? So they would give the kids in these little things a sandbox and a bunch of toys and tell them just act stuff out. And this feels like that. And the reason they would do that was because it gave them a relaxation thing. I guess he had ADHD or something like that. This was a way that he could get a lot of that stuff out, sort of like fidget spinners nowadays.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
That kind of makes sense, yeah.
Can you see what I'm talking about there? Where it's just playing around with toys. When I was a kid, I used to spend a lot of time just setting up the battle between the various G.I. Joes and things.
Oh yeah, man. I used to build these giant bases, and you'd come up with these elaborate backstories for all the different guys you had, and that was probably the best part of the whole thing.
I used to play with Legos all the time, and I had started building little characters out of it, where it was essentially 6 blocks in a triangle, but the top block and the 2 side blocks would be orange, and then a t-shirt. So they kind of looked like Doom Guy.
Okay.
And then you put a long bar at the bottom and then 2 little ones off on the side, and you have a person. Right? You've created a person. Before they came up with all these Lego people, I used to make my own Lego people.
Wow. How old are you?
Right, so screw you.
Before there was Legos, I just had my Lincoln Logs.
That's not what I'm saying, but you get what I mean. So, the thing is that's what I used to do, is build these little Lego characters, and I'd make them different colors, and I'd give them guns and all sorts of stuff, right? And I'd make, giant, elaborate battle sequences.
That's incredibly interesting what you're saying there, but I just realized perfectly what this could be used for. Stop motion animation.
That would be cool. You could do some really cool stop motion animation stuff in here.
You could do incredible stop motion animation stuff with this.
And also, you're incredibly condescending.
I'm sorry, I couldn't think of a good way to cut you off there, so I just went for full-on jerk.
Excellent. Well, I appreciate that.
Did it work?
I'm not going to say it didn't work.
Okay, perfect.
Just as an aside, apparently this is the type of world where people eat live chicks.
Yeah, specifically.
And you get married with a hot dog.
Yeah.
Now, were you laughing when you were doing this?
I wasn't exactly laughing, but I was kind of saying to myself, yeah, that's totally ridiculous. I can dig that.
So are there multiple scenes or just the one or what?
Oh yeah, there's a bunch of different scenes, and you can actually build your own completely from scratch. It's incredibly complex to do so, and once there's a lot of stuff in the level, it gets a lot harder to place the large objects, because they don't like to interact very well. That's a complaint I had, and it seemed like the snap objects that the game works with were just kind of all over the place, you know what I mean? The objects that exist in the world, there's some kind of invisible snap lines that are built around everything, and the interaction between them seems like it could use a little bit of tweaking. This game is not bad, though. I had a pretty good time playing it.
It looks like fun. It looks like the type of fun that you had as a kid, playing with Kinects and things like that, and building and creating. More than the fun you get from, like, playing a video game?
I think you're totally right. It does not seem much like a video game sort of fun, but it is an interesting way to go about the game. I don't know. I can't really call this a game because there's no game mechanic here. There's no winning. There's no losing.
Minecraft doesn't have winning and losing either, though.
Yeah, there's definitely game mechanics within it, though.
I guess this is really a play space for somebody who wants to be imaginative. This is probably the most kid-friendly game I've ever seen.
You might be right about that.
This is the game that you can give to your kids because they can just sit there and screw around and build stuff for hours and hours and hours and hours and have a lot of fun, and then they come out of it and they've no cleanup. You don't have to step on a Lego.
The tutorial for this game actually wound up pretty good because you can access it at any time just by flipping your hand over like you're going to look at a watch, and it explains a lot of different parts about how everything in the game works. There are some really impressive building tools that they give you, and a lot of different types of objects for you to use in your world. You could literally make just about anything your mind could come up with, unless it doesn't exist in the game, which I'm sure is entirely possible.
Yeah, but that just means that this is the type of thing where we're going to see the Steam Workshop showing up and filling in that niche.
That's a good point.
Because, you know, the Steam Workshop is perfect for something like this, where they can make that. Or if the company decides that they want to do things like DLC, that's certainly a possibility too.
I mean, I guess so. I guess it's entirely possible. To me, I don't really see it. This game was interesting and fun, but it could not have held my attention for more than 20 minutes. Now, if I was trying to, like, do something like make a scene for, I don't know, an ad or something, I could see myself using this to, like, kind of act out something I was trying to portray to somebody. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
I mean, I could see using it as a tool, but not necessarily in any other format. Because it doesn't seem like a game that I would spend time playing, but that could absolutely be somebody else's jam, you know? This could be the thing they've been waiting for.
And you know what, that's the thing. I really appreciate what they're doing here. It looks neat. And for me, I just can't help but be reminded immediately of playing with Legos and Kinects and having fun like that. This is super nostalgic. Like, just a super, super nostalgic game.
Well, that's good. It brought back a feeling of nostalgia in Moriarty. So, I mean, I'm sure at this point he's probably reliving, you know, images of the Civil War in his mind.
Yeah, that's right, because I was around in 1865!
That was the implication. So this game is $14.99, and that is a bit more than I think I would pay for it. Kind of pricey for what it is, but technically speaking, I guess there's no end to how much time you could spend in it.
Yeah, I mean, for a game where it's literally a play box, there's really no play time. Like, you could spend all the time you wanted in it.
Okay, so you seem to be interested in this game. If you had this game, would you pay $14.99 for it?
Probably, but I would go into it knowing I'm going to spend 1 or 2 hours, maybe, and I'm going to spend a few hours a year playing it. It's definitely not the type of thing that I'm going to go into all the time, but I could definitely see myself playing it and spending time in it over a long period of time.
Yeah, that does make sense.
Here's a game, you're going to play it once every few months for a few hours. is $15 worth it? Yeah, absolutely. And if I had a kid and it's like, look, you're giving your kid this game and they're going to play it, and they're going to play it for a long period of time, every couple of days or every few days, but they're only going to play it for a month, yeah, it's worth it.
You know, I totally forgot about that you said this is a perfect kid game. You're right, this is a perfect kid game. And the best part is that there's no multiplayer, so I don't have to worry about some pervert sexually harassing my child.
No, they don't need it. And if you're going to do multiplayer in a game like this is the type of game that's perfect for local multiplayer.
That's true. You could build worlds together like in Minecraft or something. My 2 cents is that this game is not something that would keep my interest. I appreciate what it is and what it can do, but it's not something that I would be interested in.
I'm on the other side of the spectrum because I'm a little kid at heart, and I'd be screwing around playing, having fun, or giving my nephew the game, or whatever. It's definitely the type of thing that I could see being a worthwhile addition to your library if you have that kind of mentality where you're looking at it going, man, it would just be fun to play with G.I. Joes again. So there you go, guys. That's Tiny Town. What do you think? Would you play with it like I would? Or would you throw it in the trash like Crypto? Let us know in the comments below. If you like it, like it. If you don't like it, don't like it. But if you did like it, why don't you check out another video right up there in the corner? And as always,
we'll see you on the next one.